Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, F.E. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. Whenever tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the champ and the tramp, let the bomb blast.
Here we go, Champ and the Tramp, episode 37. We are joined by Jersey Shore royalty here.
Yes, exciting.
All right, Christie Rampone, 4-time Olympian, 3-time champ, World Cup champ.
Mm-hmm.
Twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been checking your stats, and I'm astonished. I mean, you're a stud. I mean, senior year you led in all 3 sports. You're scoring, right?
I did.
Soccer, basketball, and
field hockey.
Wow.
Yeah, because back when I was in high school, we played field hockey in the fall.
Okay, right.
And then soccer in the spring. Now it's changed.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And local, Point Pleasant.
Yes.
Point Pleasant girl.
I mean,
yeah.
I think everybody's heard your name. I didn't realize that you were a local girl, Point Pleasant. That's awesome.
Yeah, slid under the radar.
Yeah.
Went to Monmouth University.
Monmouth University on a basketball scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Wow. Yeah,
it was my senior year when I got called up to the national team, so a big surprise.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And 2000 was your first Olympics, right? 2000. No.
Yeah, 2000. Mm-hmm. So it was in the 99 World Cup with the big event here in the U.S. and then launched off the 2000 Olympics.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. And so that was Sydney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you did Athens.
Then Beijing. And then London.
What was your favorite place, think?
Oh, so many. Probably Beijing. You know, it was somewhere we traveled. I've been to China 14 times. It was one of the tournaments we went to every year.
Wow.
So they did a great job on the Olympics, bringing everybody together and just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You really felt like you were truly at the Olympics. So
big stage.
Big stage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Athens had to be pretty cool though, because that's where it started, right? The first
Olympics, the cool thing about the medal too is it's pretty much the original. It's like a replica.
Oh, wow.
So like at least I can say I have one that looks like
cool.
the original,
Yeah.
and then after that, each country can go basically as big and as thick as they want.
Right,
so they all have gotten bigger and
they
bigger
all
over the years.
look different.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They're all
I didn't know
different.
that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And where do you keep them?
In the kitchen. I display them.
That's cool.
So everybody can see them.
That's
I usually bring them like whenever I do an event or something. I always bring them to share with the kids. I mean, the ribbons are shredded, but
that's
it's a give back.
Yeah.
By far the most decorated athlete, and we've had many on the show. You take it hands down.
Definitely. Yeah. Todd Frazier might have something to say about that, but you definitely take the cake.
We got the bat from Frazier, yeah. But she's trumping your little one belt over there, bud.
Yeah, hey,
he's still going though.
yeah. Well, I mean, that was impressive. You were the oldest at one point, the oldest to ever compete in international.
Yeah,
play.
Careful, she's a lady. Careful.
I know.
No, that's a good.
Hey,
thing.
I'm proud of that.
No,
in my 40s, I was 41
competing with the best.
That's
amazing.
at the World Cup final. Yeah, it was nice to be part of that.
How would you compare a World Cup to an Olympics?
They're so different. Obviously growing up in America, you want to be an Olympian, right? And then as you get more into the sport of soccer, you realize like the World Cup is really prestigious.
Right.
And so in 99, it was here in the U.S. and we won it. It was huge. It was supposed to be small stadiums. Then we ended up playing, at the Rose Bowl, sold it out. So it was, pretty amazing. But then I call my bookends because that was 99. And then 2015, towards the end of my career, it was like all I wanted to do was win another World Cup and experience it when America actually understood what a World Cup was.
Right.
Yeah.
How now? World Cups every 4 years, also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
every 4 years.
But that's why like for wrestling, I think there's a World Championships every year.
Okay.
And then Olympics is every 4. So Olympic title is it's every 4. So it seldomly comes that's the pinnacle.
Right.
But for you guys, it's the same.
Well,
World
on a
World
world
Cup.
stage outside of the U.S., I mean, soccer is it's the
Huge.
biggest sport in the world.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah,
By
and
far.
they look at the World Cup as their big event, and the Olympics is kind of like
their
warm up.
Isn't it crazy though that speaking of wrestling, I mean, the Olympics is kind of the birthplace of wrestling, and they almost shut it down. What was that? 8 years ago, whatever it was.
This last Olympics.
Last Olympics, yeah.
2016. They voted back in. I think it was going to be in 2016. They said we're cutting it this year. And so it wasn't going to be in 2020, but now it's. But they're saying 2024 we're going to have to vote for it again. I'm like, how is that?
How?
What is the reasoning? It doesn't get the spectator fan club?
I don't know, and especially because they have men and women. It's not like they don't have the opposite.
Right.
Like, so I don't know why they don't, just let it ride. But all the crazy wrestling people are fighting for it, though. You know that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Was using their voice as
Now,
they should.
Did you ever train at the Olympic Training Center? Did you ever do that stuff with soccer?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was pretty amazing. I was in Chula Vista at the Olympic Training Center, and kind of crazy to see all the other athletes.
Oh, so it's not in where Colorado?
Colorado.
Springs?
There's
Okay.
one in Colorado, but then there's one back when I was started in '97.
Okay.
It was in Chula Vista, so there was some rowers and
That's cool.
weightlifters, and your in-dorms.
Yeah.
And training for 2 weeks, eating in like meal rooms. It was,
Yeah.
definitely a different experience, but fields were pristine and it was an amazing atmosphere.
Wow.
Right. And you do camps there for like.
Yeah. So back before there was any pro leagues, we did camps. So we just go there for like 2 to 3 weeks, do a camp, come home for a week, go back. So it's a lot of on the road traveling.
So going to Monmouth did you say on a basketball scholarship?
Yes.
How does the transition happen?
I was a walk-on the soccer team.
Okay.
So they allowed me to do both, which is great. So I was able to continue playing, and it was just my senior year. Literally got a fax, dating myself again.
Okay.
My basketball coach brought me to the front of the bus and was like, "You got this invite. What are you going to do about it?" And I was like, "I would love to go."
Right.
She basically said no. Like, you're in the middle of basketball season, you can wait to the summer. And I was like, that's not really how it works. So I had to do a bunch of research and got the president involved, the AD,
Oh, wow.
got all the coaches involved. We all sat down, and it was a long process.
Well, how amazing
stressful,
that you fought
but
for that, though.
yeah, I
'cause-
had to really fight for the opportunity to leave and go. And obviously I had to sit my teammates down. I was captain on the basketball team.
Were you really?
wow.
Yeah, so it was
Wow,
it was
you
a
were-
whole tough experience, but it made me stronger, because
Yeah.
I was very quiet, like
Right.
really not outspoken at that time. So it really pushed me to
Stand
go
up for
for
yourself, yeah.
go for that dream.
Similar story with you. You had the table tennis scholarship and
Yeah.
transitioned into wrestling. Very similar story, actually.
I'll get you on the pong table, man. Yeah, no, that's crazy though. That in college they have to make you go through all that to do what you want to do.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. 'Cause
they're
you're like,
messing
here's
with
this
your
invite,
career. Yeah.
you're going, cross country to perform with the best players. They had just won the '96 Olympics, and I was asked into that first camp. So my first experience before stepping on the field was the highlights of them winning the gold medal, and there was only 2 new players that were invited. It was myself and another girl, and I was like, what is
Wow,
going
yeah,
on?
You don't pass that up.
Yeah, and they're like, where are you from? Monmouth, what division is it? They couldn't even say it right, and it was like, okay, I got to really prove myself now.
That's great. Now, did you lose your scholarship for basketball?
I did not.
You did not. Okay,
No,
good. So they did
They
the right
honored
thing.
it,
sounds
and then
like,
when I came back, I
yeah.
still
What a good move
played.
for them, because
Yeah.
can you imagine if they didn't?
right.
Now, what made you get into sports? Were your
Just
parents
family.
push you
Yeah,
into
and it was just more
your
about
siblings.
My siblings. My
Yeah.
older sister was into sports. My dad played baseball in college, and was in semi-pro, and I think I was trying to live out his dream.
Yeah.
I was the middle child, successful, and I was lucky enough to be successful in everything that I was doing. No pressures. I just played. Nowadays, you have to pick one sport. I was like basketball, field hockey. I was running track. Like I just went with whatever season. I really never worked on anything special in soccer or basketball. It just kind of came natural as an
Yeah.
athlete. I always say I was an athlete playing sports,
Right.
and it wasn't until the national team I became an actual soccer player.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just family, and they really didn't push me. I think I just had that
that drive,
that competitive
that
drive.
yeah.
That's what made me
Todd
tick.
spoke about that, that competitive drive within the family dynamic, you know what I mean? Because both of his brothers played Major League. One, I think, was only in for 7 days or something like that, but they definitely pushed each other. They said everything in the family was competitive, and the
Yes.
dad was an athlete. And so I didn't have that. I grew up in not that I would have been a naturally gifted athlete, but I grew up in such a small town in Maine, little rural Maine. There was only 800 people in my whole town, and seven different towns went to my one high school, but we didn't have any of the big sports. We had the basics. We had run
Right.
down a dirt road, and we'll call it cross country. We did have soccer, though. We did have soccer, and I played soccer, I think, my freshman, sophomore year, but baseball was kind of if I was a decent
was
at
your
anything,
sport.
it would have been baseball, but I kind of sucked at everything, to be honest with you. So, yeah. You would think 6'4",
I mean,
I'd be good at basketball, but
You're only competing against 8 other dudes, so I mean, how hard could it have been?
yeah, this is true.
No,
It's
there's
very
something to be
true.
said about, I said, their relationship with sports, and
Yeah.
it did come from family. family.
Well, let's talk about your book. You have a book coming out, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of the correlation that you're talking about in the book, correct? Yeah,
absolutely. It's called Be All In, and it was basically, having a better relationship with your child through sports. Because obviously, retiring, coaching, having kids, being a mom, I was like, this world is kind of crazy in the sports climate. Like, we need to change it a little bit.
This world is kind of crazy in general.
I know.
What's going on? I don't know how you feel about that, but feel free to chime in.
I agree with you. Right? We're in a crazy part of our life right now.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of give back, with all my experience. And, I teamed up with Dr. Keene, who's a neurologist. And so she kind of gives the clinical approach and the science behind the brain development at certain ages. So through all my storytelling and experiences, she kind of gives that feedback.
Wow. Yeah. And it comes out the 18th, August 18th? Yeah, great. Mm-hmm. Check it out. I have young kids that are a little young for sports, but they're just getting to that age. But he's got some really driven athletes in his family. So
well, I mean, I got one that's super driven, one that's not so much, and I got my daughter who she's like a fly on the wall, just do anything, But it is interesting, and like that drive. Like people always ask you, why you have this drive? I'm like, I don't know. I just wanted to do this, And I think you can't make your kid do that either. You gotta, they have to want. Like the one that wants to, all right, well, that's the plant I'll water. You know what I mean? The other kid, we got to figure out something else to connect on.
And of your two children, are both athletes?
They're both athletic. One is really into it. My oldest is very competitive. She has that like it factor. Like she has the drive. And my younger one's kind of figuring it out. Like she doesn't really have a love yet. She's soccer, basketball. She's dancing. She's trying to swim. Like, just trying to put her into everything. Sure. And I always say, like, you got to do something. Absolutely. I don't care what it is, but you got to do something. But that's what I talk about in the book, too. Like, you can have so many different personalities coming out of the same household. Absolutely. And you just have to be aware of what your child's likes are. Yeah. That's just more about the awareness.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you, like you said, you've been, you have kids and you've been around other parents and their kids. And I always say, you learn from that. Yes. You learn from people that do good things. You learn from the things you shouldn't do too.
Absolutely.
So, I see wrestling parents are some of the craziest.
I was just going to ask you, what is your take on that parent that seems to be a little? I mean, I respect the passion, but is a little overboard with it. The kid, you've seen it in wrestling terms, the dad that runs out and shoves the other. I mean, clearly they're just taking it a little bit too.
Yeah.
How deep do you go? Where's the point where you say, okay, listen, mom needs to take a step back, or as a parent, we need to take a step back and let them, be their own athlete and maybe push them and drive them, but mom doesn't need to be running out on the field and getting into an argument with the ref.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's your kid's journey. Right, that's what I always say is like it's their choice and to create their script of what they want to do. And yes, like my oldest is competitive, so I do still have to push her and motivate her. Sure. Like there's that time, but knowing I can do that. Right. But there's a point where you have to let your child go and experience and fail and deal with it. And that's what we talk about in the book a lot is there's so many life lessons because your kids need to fail in order to succeed.
Absolutely.
They need to have that
that's the best lesson,
feeling.
Really, yeah.
And I also talk about too is like, Christie and I coach together, and one of our rules for our parents is if they're coaching from the sidelines, your child's removed from the field. Oh, wow. And it's worked out really well because we have game plans, we have strategies, we talk to the parents and allow them to trust us with their child. Right. And if you're going to start yelling at a coach or yelling at a ref or being kind of over the top, we make them aware, and if they continue to do it, then their child loses playing time. But it's a hard ask, but they kind of have to buy into the system and the game plan and the structure of what we're doing and what we're trying to do.
Believe in the process.
Yeah.
But it's tough being a parent trying to coach. I mean?
It's not easy.
I've been coaching wrestling since I've been doing it, and I coach someone else's kid. This is so easy. I coach my own kid. I feel it in my voice. It's not, and it's not good for the kid. You don't want to hear him to feel that nervousness in your own voice. You know?
I know. I try to say I try not to be as hard on Riley when I coach her, but I demand a lot out of her. You know, and she doesn't get any special treatment. But I probably am a little bit harder. On her, but
my one that competes, I'm definitely hard on him. I'm to the point where I'm like, sometimes I'm like, man, I gotta give him a little credit. I think.
Yeah. Is that probably what champions are made of, though? I mean, you have to, like you said, water the seed, but also be a little critical, a little. You got
to, especially it depends on how bad. What do you want out of this?
You want the coach perspective, or you want the mom perspective?
Right. And also, what does the kid want from what he's doing?
Absolutely.
Do you want to be the best? Because Do you want to cry from when the guy beats you, or do you want to win? You know,
So-
that's what I'm trying to help you out with.
Mm-hmm.
We have definitely never had a bigger champion in here than you, or a more winning champion. What is your take on this sort of entitlement where everybody's a winner, everybody gets a trophy, everybody goes home? What is your? We're very clear on, and I'm not an athlete, but I know how I'll raise my kids. What is your take on that?
I totally
Do you
disagree
think-
with that. Like, how
Yeah.
are you going to set them up for life in general
Correct.
when you're always giving them praise and you're always
Correct.
complimenting them and giving them trophies,
Right.
because they're never going to know that they've made a mistake or
Mm-hmm.
they've done wrong or there's no discipline. So I'm so against,
I agree.
just
Couldn't-
giving
So glad you
a
said that.
trophy
Well,
out
you-
just for competing, just for
Right.
showing up.
Yeah.
Like, that's not life.
And that's what you just said. Like the failures are the good thing for the kids, especially like our kids. They they grew up pretty nice. We live in a good area. We
Right.
do well for them. We provide for them. They really don't see much adversity, but they can see it in sports, especially if they want something really bad and it doesn't pan out the way that they thought it was.
Right.
That's devastating to them, and that's a life lesson that they get. If
Right.
you sugarcoat everything for every kid, they don't get to experience that.
Yeah, I always say life's not fair.
Yeah,
As much as you
right.
want something, as much as you work for something, sometimes it doesn't always pan out that way.
Right.
But it's what you learn from that experience. You
yeah.
know, like what did you learn from that loss? Like, what are you going to do and change and try to be a better competitor.
'Cause
Right.
I would think, and again, I'm not an athlete, but you would do one or two things. You would either that loss would make you quit, never want to do it again, or it would inspire you to be a better athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I always say my silver medal is the best thing that ever happened to me.
That was your first one, right?
Yeah, it was my first medal, and I was like,
2000.
that feeling
Yeah.
of losing,
Yeah.
like in overtime,
silver,
so
she
close,
considers losing.
yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
close to like winning a gold medal,
Yeah.
like, and that's what's hard is like, saying it that way, like losing, and getting a silver medal. So, I bring that memory with me wherever I go to realize like those moments, that feeling, like it's a motivation for me to
Absolutely, yeah.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're bothering
Yeah,
you,
it's
you don't,
Yeah.
That's fine.
As long as you can hear us, you're
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah. So, who were your like homegirl teammates when you were coming up? Would they have different ones
I
every
actually,
year? Like,
by accident, called you. I don't know why I called you Brandy when we first walked in there, because Brandy Chastain was the first name that popped in my
A
head.
lot of people get me mixed up with
did-
Brandy.
did
Like,
you
are you the
ever-
girl that took your shirt
yeah.
off at the celebration in '99?
I'm not going to
like,
say that was what I was thinking. But did you play with Brandy?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I played, from maybe 8 years with Brandy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I'm like in the middle, I would
Okay.
say, of like the pioneers that started the whole
Right.
program, like Michelle Akers, the Mia Hams, the
Right,
Brandy
right.
Yeah, Mia
Chastains.
Hamm is probably
And
the
now
biggest
to
thing, yeah.
like the Alex Morgans, Sydney
Right.
LaRue, like that group. I was like kind of right in the middle, but Abby Wambach and Shannon Box were like
Yep.
my core.
All
Okay.
familiar
Yeah.
names. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, you guys. I mean, the men's team didn't really give us much.
Yeah, no, they're
to
struggling.
kind of to be pumped about. So you guys been carrying the torch
That is-
for quite a
that
long
is
time.
Yes, we have.
Very true.
Yeah.
We're
very
good.
true.
We're good with that.
Yeah,
We're
sure,
okay with that.
Sure. Now, like when you guys travel together, it's like it's got to be pretty wild, no?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're on the road 260
Yeah.
days out of the year. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, we don't have a home base.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
whenever we travel, like whether it's in the state, it's wherever we're competing, or if we're going overseas. So it's just we're together constantly. So
Yeah.
a lot of fun talks in meal rooms and late nights. and,
Frankie
yeah.
may feel a little uncomfortable with this, and he just signed a new UFC contract. Might want to mention your fight got bumped back a little bit, August 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't announced it yet, so.
Oh, okay. My bad. We'll
Yeah,
cut that part
yeah.
out. We'll cut that out in the edit.
Timing's everything, right?
Yeah.
We'll do a little choppy chop in the edit room on that one.
Well, we got some time. We got a couple of days. I'm sure.
But
we'll get it
has a long and lustrous career, great career, and I would not ever say that he's at the end of it. But when did you know it was time to retire and walk away?
It's a good question. I just think, of winning that World Cup, and obviously my role was different because I wasn't necessarily playing on the field as much, but I had a bigger role, like in the locker room, away from the field, off the field. I knew it was time. Like my body was starting to hurt. I wasn't as productive, but I did continue to play 2 more years on the professional level, which I still felt like I could give and I was productive. But it was just, you just know. I don't know.
Did you
It's
feel
like
like being on the road that much, it was taking away from your, as a mom or from your personal
well, the
life?
kids
or-
traveled with me.
Oh, they
That's
did?
cool.
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
I experienced my whole career with the kids on the
So
road
they're
with me.
They're world travelers.
2
So
passports filled. Yeah, they
Wow.
were.
Did you have
That's
to
awesome.
homeschool them?
Well, they traveled from when they were born, 3 months, They were back.
Wow.
They were on the road with me till
That's
about
amazing.
second grade.
That's
so then
amazing.
school was like, okay.
That
And
is
then at one
amazing.
point I would have one, and one
Yeah.
was in school.
I had no idea. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, playing games
know.
with no sleep. You know, it was
Yeah,
just
I'm sure that's gonna be
a little
crazy.
different. You know, imagine
That's-
having your kids with you.
Oh, man. I had my kid. I flew in Atlantic City, and they came down. Just they didn't stay down. They came down.
They came
for a couple-
down, right?
And I'm like, get these kids out of here.
But when you did the UFC house, you were out
They
there for
did,
like
yeah.
8 weeks.
Well,
They were
yeah.
there with you, right?
I was
Not in the house, but they were.
I
in Vegas.
coached the Ultimate Fighter show.
Okay.
But that's not that. It's not. I'm not competing, so it's not that
But
stressful.
it's not, yeah.
You know.
But they
Yeah.
flew out and they stayed.
Yeah,
in
they
Vegas.
stayed. We stayed in a condo with me. Yeah.
Yeah, the only time they weren't physically with me was a World Cup or an Olympic event.
Right,
That like
right.
3 weeks,
Yeah.
I was strictly with the team. Like they would visit,
Right.
like you said, but they wouldn't be in the hotel with me.
Yeah.
Your highlight moment of your career, your most shining moment that pops in your head, if you could name one, what is it?
Probably winning the Beijing Olympics as a mom and as a captain.
Amazing.
That's cool.
You know,
Yeah,
like when
yeah.
you hear that final whistle blow,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
I can't believe I did this.
Yeah.
What is standing on that podium like?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like you almost
You're
don't
the pride
even,
of America, you know?
Yeah, like you stand up there and you like almost are numb, to be
Yeah.
honest, and you look back at photos and you can't even believe what you're doing. You know,
Right.
you're like, oh my God, I was running around the field, I had the flag. Like
Yeah.
you just go numb because it's
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost
such a
too much.
long experience to get there. And then when you finally get there and we're at like, it's like 1 a.m. by the time we're on the podium, you know, it's like late night.
adrenaline's-
Yeah, the adrenaline's going.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
just
nodding
like,
my head and acting like I know, and I have no idea what that's like. I have no clue.
yeah, it's pretty
I
amazing.
played a pretty mean foosball game in high school. That's about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
What was the Olympic Village like? Everyone's talking about that. It's craziness.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So like we unfortunately don't get there until if we make the final, right?
Oh,
So that's
really?
another motivation for us, you know, to get to
okay.
the final, we get to the village. And when you get there, it's just crazy and
Yeah.
insane and
Yeah.
like so hard to compete because, you know, you got the ones that have already won or done
Yeah,
that are
celebrating,
celebrating. You
right,
don't really
right.
get kicked out. Like, so just
wow.
a lot of distraction. You go to the meal room and you just kind of like people watch and you figure out what sport they're playing, but there's just so much going on, so much
Wow.
energy going
Yeah.
on there. Yeah.
Now, when you competed, is Olympic like the international play much harder or comparable to the pro play?
Yeah, internationals
Is-
just
takes the
faster.
cake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different level.
All right.
And I think pros getting there, but yeah, international is just
I would imagine.
yeah, just the speed of play, the contact,
Right.
the just the game planning, and even like the way you're taken care of. You know, with a massage therapist, you have nutritionists. Like you're
Yeah.
better well taken care of on the road. Pro,
No, huh?
yeah, it's
Really?
like club.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not there yet on the women's side.
Yeah.
You know,
So, Point Pleasant girl, born and raised?
I was born in Florida, but
Oh.
moved
okay.
when I was 2, so
wow, you
I
might
consider
as
it
well.
like
Yeah.
you know.
Moved
raised.
to a neighboring town. You're always going to be a Jersey girl?
Always Jersey
Your
girl.
heart's
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. I think I'm
Yeah.
the only, I will say the only player that's kind of moved back to their home area.
That's great.
Now, Carly Lloyd, she was on the team, right?
Yep, she's from Delran.
Delran, yeah.
Mhm.
There was another girl that was.
Tobin Heath is from Basking Ridge. Heather O'Reilly is from East Brunswick.
Okay.
We had Saskia Weber from Princeton. So we've
Okay,
got
yeah.
we had a few.
Is
Jersey
Jersey's a
girls.
pretty good soccer
yeah,
area?
it's a
right?
hotbed. Yeah. Jersey, it's just like I would say blue collar workers.
Right.
You know,
right,
we
yeah,
have
yeah.
a different style. West Coast is more like, you know, the pretty technical. Like I guess
Okay.
East Coasters like love to compete.
Yeah,
You know, we're like
okay,
hardcore.
yeah.
You don't put dye in your hair on the East Coast.
We just get after it.
yeah. I like that. Yeah, I mean, Jersey sports is just tough, just because we're competitive people over here. You know?
Yeah,
it's
We're
a
fast lifestyle,
so damn close
you know?
together too. You
Right?
know? So, yeah, that's cool. What who'd you compete against in the Olympics? Was it, like who's your biggest stiffest competition?
Japan. The
team-wise?
last couple World Championships against Japan.
Japan, yeah.
You know, and you can see it. You can see their youth teams were good, and
I would
Guess
not
it
have
was-
thought that. I would not have thought
yeah,
that.
it started
Wow.
with in '99. It was China,
Yeah.
and then it was like Norway, Germany. You know, Germany has a
Mm-hmm.
few World Cups, and then it went to Japan.
Wow.
They've been they're so technical and they're
Discipline,
so
right?
skillful,
Yeah.
discipline. You know, they drive you nuts playing against them because you
Right.
defend for a majority of the game, and you just have to like be
Yeah.
patient and disciplined because the second we can, we go. But
Right.
they're good. It was actually kind of unique because I did a few camps after the tsunami in Japan, and their sports program, like the way they develop, is so different because they like, for instance, in soccer, they don't go to goal. Like there's no keeping score till they're 11. So it's
Oh,
all
wow.
technical work. They have to be technically sound before they can actually compete.
Oh, wow.
Where here in America, it's like win, win, win.
Yeah.
Like,
It could be, yeah.
How many
you
goals
know,
you get,
yeah,
kid?
like, you know.
Maybe that's why America, there's so much emphasis on giving trophies out to everybody, because it's a point system and everybody's got to be a winner.
Absolutely.
They may very well
I
have a
think
better
they have,
system. Yeah,
they have
yeah,
a good
yeah.
system, I think.
Samurai
Yeah.
code over there.
I mean, right now, that's what we should be doing instead of like rushing back to compete during this time,
Yeah.
because it's like, get technically
Build the
sound.
basics,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
like this is the time to work and have fun and get your skill set in, and then go,
Right.
you know, when it
Right.
opens up, be ready to compete.
Absolutely.
How do you feel all this stuff is affecting these kids, youth sports and everything?
It's tough. You know, it's mentally challenging because kids have never had a disruption or interruption in their sports.
Right.
You know, think about it, like when we grew up, like we never had a break. We just kept going and going. And,
Right.
you know, now they're figuring out like I needed to work out. How do I work out? You know,
Yeah.
like, you know, how do I stay consistent? You know, it's tough, and they expect themselves to be the way they were when they left the sport. So it's really mentally challenging, you know,
Yeah.
and then if you watch, like some sports are opening up, some aren't, some kids are playing with their team, some aren't. It's
Yeah.
like, it's hard because you get into that comparing phase and, you know, like the uncertainty and, you know, should
Right.
I be getting back, and parents.
A very uncertain world in
Yeah.
general that we're living in right now. Yeah, Sebastian is a good example. Sebastian could have had his first national title this year, right?
Yeah. With my teammate Sebastian Rivera, he's a Jersey kid. He's a CBA grad. He's a
Okay.
state champ, but he Northwestern kid. He #1 seed, and they canceled the national tournament.
Never got to compete.
Never got to compete, and now he's coming back. He graduated Northwestern. He's going to grad. He has one more year of eligibility. He's going to grad year at Rutgers, and now they don't even know if they're going to have the season.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
And it's so hard for an athlete, that
but
timing
he'll do an
too.
Olympic red shirt though. I think to
Oh, yeah,
keep that
okay.
year of eligibility, which would be good.
That'll be good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part with the Olympics being canceled, and as an athlete, like, and you know, like you prepare yourself for when your fight is
Yeah,
or when a game
yeah,
is, and
right.
then when it's taken away, you're like, okay,
yeah.
now you got to backtrack a
Right.
little bit,
So
and
everything's
Gonna-
about peeking
gonna-
and doing everything the
Gonna
right
put
time.
you in the hot seat here a little bit. A
Okay.
little bit in the hot seat. What is your feeling on the national anthem and singing the national anthem now, because there's so much controversy around it?
yeah, I mean, honestly, personally, competing for my country and
Yeah.
wearing the
I
red, white,
would
and blue,
think that would be your
like
answer, yeah.
I have so many amazing memories and what this country is giving back to me.
Correct, yeah.
Be able to play that on that platform and have the platform I have to have a voice, you know, I definitely would,
God-
you know, stand up and
God bless
represent
you.
that.
God bless you. Yes, I agree. 100%. Be proud of where you're from. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's definitely it's still to be proud, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going against anything else.
right.
It's just that moment, because
Couldn't-
everybody
couldn't agree more.
has
Couldn't agree
a
more.
different relationship with the flag.
Could not agree
You
more.
know,
with that,
and
yeah.
you know, I definitely respect what's going on, and you know, want to be educated and like
Same.
give back, but
Same.
that flag represents something
Absolutely.
different and has
Yeah.
a different meaning to me.
I get to avoid it. They don't do the national anthem at the UFC, so don't like.
Yeah,
you
you
don't have to
don't
avoid
have
that.
to worry.
No, I feel like I was told that they started playing the national anthem at games because to honor the people overseas while we're playing the fucking
Seventh
game.
inning of the
you know?
baseball, right?
If you
Yeah.
think about it, you go to the Olympics as a national team. Everybody does.
Right. Well, especially
You know,
there,
come
especially
on.
when you're
Yeah, seeing
representing
that
your
flag
flag.
being
When you're
raised,
representing,
Right,
you're
right.
representing the
Podium.
U.S.
What are we supposed to
it's a little
fly a
different.
universal flag at this point?
It'd be a little different if maybe you're representing the Jets, you know. So,
Right.
but when you're representing the U.S., you need
I-
to stand for that damn flag.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we talk about it a lot. Obviously, you know, Christie being from Ireland
Yes.
and coming over here, and the meaning for him
Yeah.
too. It's, you know, just more powerful too to like really appreciate your freedom.
Right.
Been
Well,
there.
that's the thing. Like,
Amazing
you've
country.
traveled.
We stayed in Belfast, and then we stayed a little longer, and we did road trip. Went to Dublin, and we hit the oldest bar in Dublin. What the heck was the name of the Brazen Head? Does that ring a bell? Went to the Brazen Head. Yeah.
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It's a good time.
It is a good time. Yeah.
But you know, you've traveled a lot of different places, and you know, I have too. I've been to Russia and the Philippines, and there's
It's eye-opening, right?
Yeah, Brazil. I mean, believe me, it's the most free place in the world,
Absolutely.
hands down. You know, so sometimes that's the price of freedom now. So, the price of freedom is people get to spit on a flag. It's kind of crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
But on that note,
It's got to make you proud, though, to have a talent. Again, I don't. Blue doesn't. You guys do. That literally enabled you to travel the world. I mean, that.
Oh, I would have never had that
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
without sport.
Right.
You know, being able to travel and have 4 passports full, and just
4
think about it, an away game is in a different country.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
right,
for us.
right.
So it's I've been able to be blessed and go to, just seeing China and the growth even in China to, like I said, Brazil, Portugal.
Yeah.
We've been Australia.
Wow.
I've got to experience a lot, and so as my kids have got to experience.
Didn't realize that. That impressed me so much that you said your kids traveled.
The travel and having 2 girls and the role models and watching us just get up and go through the grind and the hydration and what choices we were making. So they got a good experience. They won't remember a ton of it, but like my oldest, because I was able to play so late.
Yeah.
You seem very humble for reaching such a pinnacle in a sport, and that's very cool that you stayed local too.
I think I just appreciate where you come from. Like I just love it. I just love it here, and people around here helped me get to where I was.
This guy makes Tom's River proud every single fight.
Absolutely.
He wins. I don't know if you watch him. He shouts out TR every.
Oh no, we watch all the fights.
Yeah.
Christie's so into it, and like I sometimes have to like close my eyes, but he'll be like, "Look at that skill!" Like, and he'll like we'll rewind it and like show your footwork, and like what you did, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, now I get it." I just have to look past the blood.
He's pretty famous for his footwork, and usually one of his eyes is closed too. So
yes, for the most part.
It's amazing to me.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I love living around here, especially summer times. This is where it's at. Were you Jenks girl?
Yeah.
I think Roger's jersey is retired up there.
Yeah.
We were on the Seaside Boardwalk the other day.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago. That was a decade ago.
Yes,
I'm a dad now. I'd rather that be my legacy than the other thing.
Live and learn, right?
What is your take, if you want to talk about it, on what's going on? This poor guy. He was scheduled to have a fight in July. What was 15th in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi,
Flew to Vegas with everything going on. Had to do the COVID-19 testing there and quarantine for 24 hours. And his opponent tested positive for COVID, so his fight was canceled. It was his first cut to 135. It would be the first time ever fighting at 135. Had a great training camp. Felt great. Was on the diet, was on point to make weight, and my heart breaks for the guy. It's been rescheduled. I can't say the date because I didn't know I couldn't say the date. But what is your take on what is going on with this COVID-19 thing in our world and how it's affecting anybody in a multiplicity of ways? I mean, do you think it's better? There's a couple schools of thought on it to open schools back up for kids because it's more harmful for them to not be on school, and they really have such a low percentage of contracting it and especially dying from it. Or do you think that the country should be on lockdown and it should be? I mean, there's really 2 schools of thought on it.
Right. I mean, I think if the country was going to go on a lockdown, it should have happened months ago.
Right.
And if we followed the guidelines, we'd be open by now. But nobody follows the guidelines, right? Everybody's got a voice and everyone's not abiding by what they should be doing. So with that being said, it's like you got to start opening up because no one's going to listen. So if we're not going to listen, you as yourself have to abide by the guidelines. And it's hard in school and in sports. I get because in anything we fear because we don't trust, right? And we don't trust what's going on right now. And there's no process. There's zero communication. Correct. There's no clear communication. So then internally we start to panic a little bit. But, I'm trusting the school system my kids are in. My daughter is in summer school right now, so she's going to school every day. We're going through the protocol. I have to fill out some paperwork. She gets her temperature, and she's loving it. And I can see that she's happy. It's just a matter of, is the protocol going to be right? But we have to start opening up just for the mental side for adults and children.
If you forego the health, side of it, are the other side effects? Domestic violence is up. Kids not. They say I forget the percentage. It was something like. I don't even want to put a number to it, but an incredible amount of abuse at home is reported to the school system by children, and kids aren't in school right now, So.
Right. Yeah, that's the tough part from feeding the children that actually aren't getting fed, on a daily basis, and they look forward to those meals during the week. It's tough. So you have to start opening it back up just for everybody's mental state.
I agree. Protect the most vulnerable at this point.
Absolutely.
Since so many people have so many different schools of thought on it, that are relatively young and healthy, protect the most vulnerable, and let us, America, get back to work.
Yeah,
so,
and unfortunately, there will be cases.
There will
be. We're going to have to deal with all that stuff. But in order to get back,
I'm a statistics guy, and if you just went by the bare statistics, the real statistics.
The real statistics.
I mean, you got a better chance of getting hit by lightning in a thunderstorm, than
I hear ya.
dying, not
I hear
contracting
ya.
it, than
Yeah.
dying.
But it's tough when you're in sports and you're relying on your
Honestly.
competitor
Yeah,
to
right,
do what's right, and
What's
they
right,
don't.
He was so worried
That's-
and so
That's
concerned
tough.
that someone on his team, or possibly him, but mostly somebody on his team, because if somebody on his team got it,
I think they pulled me
and-
as well.
and everybody was fine, everybody tested okay, and then his opponent tested. I mean, that.
Yeah.
And that's
that
what we're talking
sucks.
about. Not
Right,
everybody's
right,
gonna,
right.
you did everything in your control,
Right.
and that's all you can really do at this time is like
Yeah.
control what you can control,
Correct, yeah.
and do what you have to do.
Good news is, and I think it worked out for everybody, it was immediately rescheduled.
Yeah,
in a very
yeah.
quick
Yeah.
rescheduled date. It was only they're only about a month apart, right?
I'm not bad, but I'm a month
Yeah,
apart.
yeah.
I mean, I was down to weight. That all sucks. More training, but
So you put the weight back on, and then
I did
lose
do like
again.
I did.
We
I
were
went on
at
like
the
a
boardwalk eating like
I went on
Coors ice cream.
You have
and-
to,
Jersey
right?
Shore food
Yeah.
tour. I was dying and pretty. I'm pretty strict, and I went off the handle for a week.
Yeah.
Gained some weight, but I'm back on track now.
You're back on.
Yeah. I
Got your
had
timing
quick-
right.
Yeah. I had a quick turnaround.
Now, what happens is he fined for?
No, because it's not
out of your control.
Yeah,
if
can't
he
start
missed
his
weight,
control.
he would be.
His
would-
whole
I-
gym,
I
his whole
shouldn't say
his whole
fine.
gym.
They
His
give
whole-
up part of your purse.
Because you're
that's-
technically in a bubble
Yeah.
when you're competing.
Well, not really, because he trains in Florida. I train in Jersey. We go to Vegas.
Got
We're
it.
quarantining. I get in the you could have got it on the plane. You
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
but his
'cause-
his whole gym had it. So
Because
it's
I
going
think
around.
we've seen in the NWSL, which is the Women Pro
Yeah.
League, the reason they're being successful is because they're all in Utah.
Right,
So they're in
right.
this big
Oh, wow.
bubble.
Right. So
And
no
they've had no
infected
cases.
people in
There's
and
a
out.
team prior that had cases. Same thing, like a team went out and ruined it for her whole team.
Oh, wow.
So then they were excluded from the tournament. And so it's working in a bubble, but as I say, if you can't, the pro athletes can't get it right.
Frankie, wasn't there some brief discussion about the MLB playing all in one state or something?
Yeah, they were gonna play all in Arizona at one
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Because they have all the
Then you
fields
can
there.
keep it all, yeah.
But that's the NBA's doing the bubble.
They're doing the bubble.
And we have at least a football player. If one person on the team gets it, they're all gonna get it. Like with fighters, it's different. Like I'm the only guy fighting, so
Right.
I have to make as long as none of my guys get it, I'm good.
Then you're good.
But
and
it's
you
not
get
like-
tested
Yeah,
right before. And
Right.
yeah. Ugh.
yeah. It's it's just messed up for everybody.
It is.
So I'm just kind of taking it in stride.
Right. You only
It's
can
a-
do what you can do.
yeah,
Get
do what
ready
you
for the
do,
next
yeah,
fight,
yeah.
right?
Like you said, no one's trust anybody. That's the biggest thing.
It's all trust,
It's
right?
a trust
That's the
thing.
whole.
And then I have a buddy in Florida, or actually some family at my kid's baseball game was like, oh, we have friends in Florida. This guy was online to get registered to test and, give his information. It was taking long. He took off. Gets a call back the next day. Hey, sir, your test came back positive. He's like, I never took a test. And then I'm at the gym the other day, and a kid from New York says, hey, my friend was just the same exact story.
Same story.
I'm like, dude, what are we dealing with here?
Yeah.
And,
So that,
and contact tracing, and there's some crazy stuff going on.
Yeah,
As a mom, how concerning. As dads, we talk about this is an unprecedented time. I hope I never see this in my lifetime, and I hope that it somehow magically gets straightened out. But I'm concerned for my kids. My kids are kind of a little too young to get it, but you certainly are old enough. As a mom, how do you explain this to this? I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. Have
Right.
you?
And hopefully we never see
Yeah,
it
I
again.
know, yeah,
But it's
for
more
sure.
of just educating her and communicating. I let her hang out with the same group. There's 10 of them. I kind of opened up. She goes to the beach.
Yep.
Wear your mask if you go in a store. Just
Right.
be respectful.
Right.
Kind of just
Right.
going on. And I have bunch of autoimmune, so I'm considered compromised. So I just let her know, if you bring it back, so I think
Right.
she's
Sure.
very careful,
Yeah.
but she has to live life.
Right.
As I said, she missed out on 8th grade graduation, 8th grade dance. She missed out on a lot of stuff. So I want her to have a good summer, but also understand the guidelines, and it's really what's going on, because there's been phases that have gone through the area where kids are getting it, and then they're they're in and out. But my youngest, she's an introvert, so she's happy
Yeah.
staying at home in the pool. She
yeah.
sees one friend, so
That's cool.
I've kind of had it easy because they both have been able to kind of live their lives that they want to lead
Right
now.
So it wasn't too much of an adjustment.
yeah, it
for
wasn't
him.
too much.
Yeah.
Now, I did read you said you had Lyme disease. My wife had Lyme disease, pretty bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was tough. Yeah, it was after my second pregnancy. 3 months is in China, and I was like, something is not right. This is not postpartum. This is not fatigue. Something's going on. And
What were your symptoms?
I was hallucinating.
Wow.
I couldn't sleep. Real bad. Aches and pains. And I had it for 3 weeks. And I was just I'm just gonna I can't sleep.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor, and my first blood work came back with it. So I have Lyme's, I have Epstein-Barr, and chronic
from
fatigue.
a tick in New Jersey?
My wife
They're
has
saying
those,
probably when I
those
was
things
younger.
are-
So the numbers that showed it was like in my system.
Okay.
They call it stress related. So stress on the body.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's from playing as long as I did, brought it out.
Frankie knows a guy with a tree
Right?
frog from the Amazon.
yeah.
He'll poke some holes in your back and he'll
My
straighten it
wife's
right
tried.
out.
I'm telling you, my
Yeah.
wife's tried everything. That's why she's tried everything. She just
Yeah.
get the IVs, treatments, and stuff. She went through all that.
It's tough because you
She's
have like
feeling a
flare-ups.
little better. She's feeling a little
like
better.
You call flare-ups.
Yeah,
like
right.
Seen flare-ups where I just cannot get out of bed. I
Oh,
feel
wow.
paralyzed. Like my body doesn't work.
Is that crazy for an athlete?
Yeah, it's weird. You know,
I can't imagine.
It's
I'm
it's
fat
tough.
and lazy normally, but you guys are athletes.
Yeah,
so
when I'm like, I can't physically move. Yeah, I had my retirement game. I almost didn't make it to because
Really?
I could not get out of bed. And then, I slept for like 4 hours, drank like 2 cups of coffee, and just forced myself. And that's one of the things, like the mind over matter. Like
Yeah.
I realized, like just get up and start moving.
Right.
Like I said, that was my medicine.
We talk
Exercise
a-
is my medicine because the only thing that can get me out of bed.
We talk a lot about mental toughness down here, and because that is the separation of normal people to pro athletes,
Right.
and the ability to power through no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
But it is tough though, because I think my wife got it in 2007, so she's been dealing with it for forever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you always will. Because they say
right.
it lies dormant, and then something can bring it on,
Right.
and it's usually some sort of stress. But it's after the stress is over.
Yeah.
Is what I've
Okay.
been told. So it's
Oh,
like
really?
I don't know if I should tell her that.
Yeah.
I'm distressed.
so after your fights.
yeah.
She's gonna have that paperwork lined up right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I said, if you just deal with it and you stay positive about it, you get through it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So
Yeah.
how long ago was your retirement game?
What was that? 2016 was
Okay.
my retirement
So
game
4 years.
at Red Bull. Yeah.
Have you dealt with that much since the retirement game? Lyme disease
No, I've
thing
had
and
like
all that?
one flare up. Honestly,
Oh, wow.
like after that, I've had
Great.
like one bad
Yeah, yeah.
flare up, and that was
So you
it.
think it's been better since you retired?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Things have been better. I'm not like, I would say like there's not a lot of stress in my body. I'm in control
Yeah.
now with like yoga, like
think
my working
just-
out is
But
like.
think just the retirement game in itself,
Yeah.
the anticipation of that was
Yeah,
probably a little
'cause I
stressful.
don't like to be in the spotlight.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like then
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
but I chose not to play my retirement game. So I wanted it to be in Jersey.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I retired and I said, when next time the team's in New Jersey at Red Bull, I'd love to celebrate. So I just
Amazing.
got announced at halftime because I
That's
wanted at
awesome.
least
Yeah.
the people that supported me,
yeah, sure.
as many of them to come to the game as
Yeah,
possible.
that's
So that
amazing.
was a little different than most people
Yeah.
choose to do.
Amazing.
You dealt with injuries throughout your career?
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot of knee,
That's
ACL.
soccer's
I'm
like
bone on
big,
bone
right?
now.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
So it's still dealing with
Right.
concussions.
Right.
I broke a couple ribs, fractured a rib. I still played. I had like three broken ribs. Next
Did
day
you
went to
really?
Disney and then played in 2 more games. Yeah.
Some defender.
Just don't
took
put it
you
on the
out
game
or
report.
something?
Just got a knee.
Really?
Right, and I was like running full speed and just
Right.
got a knee, and I heard him like crack. I just couldn't breathe. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
probably
Well,
know that
I've
feeling.
had bruised
just,
ribs
like,
before, but yeah, it hurts to even take a
just
deep
wrapped
breath,
it up,
yeah.
and I can't take a deep breath,
Yeah.
and you just everything's like short, and that's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of concussions, we had a podcast that we talked about that in a great deal. The Aaron Hernandez documentary.
Mhm.
Did you watch that?
I did.
With,
Yeah, it's pretty
with the
wild.
possibilities of what
Yeah.
concussions and brain injuries could possibly
scary,
do.
yeah.
It's pretty
You
scary.
can see
stuff.
the depression, like, and sometimes I feel like I can't find my words, or
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I am foggy and stuff. I've,
So you take some hard hits then in soccer.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you
Oh,
head
yeah.
the ball, right? It's
Yeah.
not- they're
Yeah.
giving yourself.
Is that what it's generally
Yeah,
from?
because back in the earlier
headbutting?
days, like the goalkeeper would always punt the balls high and as far, and I was a defender. I had to clear it out of the air.
Right.
Like that was my
Yeah.
job, and like that was training
So
too.
it's a lot of head-on-head contact, or
A
No,
lot
head-on.
of head on head. Like the one that I got knocked out on was like basically my goalkeeper punched me in my temple as I went to go flick the ball.
oh, your own goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that was like
Yeah.
a shock. But yeah, a lot of it is where you maybe don't see the ball coming, or it's driven. And now a lot of players can spin, have spin on the ball when they bend it, and you just hit it off your head the wrong way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The shot you don't see.
Has the sport
Stuff you
has
don't
the-
see that's on camera.
Has the sport softened at all with the rules and regulations like football has, or no?
Oh, no.
No. Okay.
No. It's actually
I would much
probably
rather
more
watch
intense.
a football game of old than today. And I get why they
Yeah.
do it. I mean, I don't want any athlete to get a brain injury, but it was the old days of the head-on-head there was nothing like watching those games, you know.
Yeah. I think we're just more aware of it. I mean, it
Absolutely.
still happen.
Yeah.
I think there's better precaution. Like if you do get hit, like the ref will stop the game right away. Where in the past they just let you lay down,
Right. Yep.
you know. But
Well, plus like young kids too, they don't like young kids head ball.
No,
right?
right, 'cause they have
Until,
no,
a
like,
certain age.
neck control,
Yeah.
they don't
But
understand.
when you were
it.
coming up,
Oh, I was
fine,
like, yeah.
That's kind of the
I was
problem though.
heading
That's
balls,
kind of the problem we're dealing with though.
yeah, no fear.
Yeah.
You know, you're just thinking back to what you put your body on the line and what you're doing,
Mhm.
like not even thinking twice.
Any regrets?
No,
None.
Zero regrets.
Good for you.
No.
Good for you.
You have to live out a dream. I mean,
Yeah, you just, that's where like I became alive, was on
Mhm.
the court, the fields, like whenever I was competing, I was like, that was my true self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing better than
It's
it.
adrenaline. Like you can't, like that's the hardest thing with retirement is like trying to find that adrenaline high.
I think
Right.
you're sort of reinventing yourself, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote a book.
Absolutely, yeah.
We hope that does well for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've found, I was
Yeah.
commentating for Fox during the World
Yeah,
I
Cup.
heard that. Yes, I heard that.
So that was like outside my
Would-
comfort
would-
zone, but
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
would have been in 2020 as well, right? Or no?
Olympics.
Olympics, yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
So it
Wow.
would have been, so that was fun, just different to see like it,
Mhm.
the picture from the other
Other
side. Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah. So, but is that what like kind of gets your adrenaline going, doing stuff that you're not very comfortable doing?
No, I think it's challenging and like I can check it off, but I do love coaching.
Yeah.
Like I do love like the passion to see a kid develop
Mhm.
and not necessarily about the winning. Like obviously I like to win everything, but to kind of see those little moments when the kid, it like clicks.
Yeah.
You're like, yes,
Yeah,
it only
yeah.
took 2 years, but we got there,
Right,
or
right.
like,
Do you have an
know?
up and coming name as a veteran that you see coming up that could be the next big thing that you're like, I'm gonna watch this girl?
no, I mean, there's no real name, but I mean, I have been watching more of like the league
Okay.
to look at the younger players. But I mean, this last World Cup, there were so many young names that just came about. Like Rose Lavelle was just like unbelievable, and like no one really thought she could do it, and like she just shined. It was
Wow.
like her moment,
You see it a
but-
lot in the UFC. You see these guys, and a lot of times the UFC will get behind them and back them, but they're just flashy and they have the gift of gab.
Mm-hmm.
They're as good on camera and at the press conference as they are in the ring, and they're just like the next big thing, the next big star. So-
Right. Well, social media brings out a lot of
Of
that
course.
too.
But I
Yeah.
think soccer's different too. Like you don't have to be
Yeah.
a big mouth. You just got to be able to score goals.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, the big mouths usually don't end up making
Well,
it because it's like more.
not true. If you rip your shirt off and slide into the goalpost, you've
That's
cemented yourself in history.
Everybody will remember
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yes. No, I think more so in soccer, you use it as motivation if you hear someone talking from another team.
Right.
But that's usually like after games, so you just hope to have
Yeah.
that revenge or like to be
Right,
able to
right, yeah.
compete against them again. But it's, in soccer, it's good to see because our league gets more internationals coming over and like learning the culture and,
Right.
trying to get better. Because the only good thing about, I don't think we're as gifted skill wise or technical, but like the good thing about America is we love to compete and they don't
Yeah.
understand that in
Mm.
other countries. They
Right.
just don't
Drive
understand
it,
like,
yeah.
how do you guys continue to play to the last whistle? Like,
Yeah.
It
You know, that was like what that they feared.
Russia sort of had that, and the Russia of old, I should
Mm-hmm.
say, like especially with the hockey league and the rivalry there. I think they had that.
I think we just had that rivalry
country
against
pride.
Russia. U.S. versus Russia had that
Yeah,
rivalry going.
yeah. Has
at
that ever
time.
existed since with any two countries? Not that I can think of.
Well, I mean, Russia,
When we
and
beat
USA
them,
wrestling.
what
is
year
still
was
real,
that we
real
beat them
competitive.
in
That was
hockey?
1980.
80?
80?
The miracle.
I mean,
right?
that
Let's
was
call it
literally
the
miracle.
Yeah.
yeah.
Has that existed since?
As what?
A rivalry like that would even come close to.
I mean, look, I bet you Russia don't have a movie about a rivalry against U.S.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have a movie because they kicked our ass forever. And
You talking about
That we
the
finally-
Yeah, I mean,
You talking about the Mighty Ducks?
yeah. But like, I mean, and wrestling wise, Russia still crushes
Still
it.
crushing
I
it.
mean, the
Yeah.
last World Championships, yeah, Russia won. USA took, I think, second or third. Like, we're always like up there. Russia, Iran is always up there too. But like Russia, just one area which a lot of guys I train with, Dagestan, Chechnya, and Ossetia. It's like an area.
Dagestan is getting put on the map now.
Yeah, but no,
Really
it's
are.
like the Habib's from there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an area probably the size of South Carolina. And they said if
They-
you just that area would have won the world championships. I'm like, wow, that's pretty
That's
impressive.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're
That is
like
impressive.
old school warriors from like ancient times. Yeah, Sambo's
Sambo,
yeah,
yeah.
they do sambo, but they're really good at wrestling. They're really good at this one guy's Zabit Shapiro Magomedov. Tries to some mouthful.
Say that
Good
3
commentator
times
right
fast.
there.
He's like he does wushu sanda. It's like a kung fu.
He's amazing to watch.
Yeah,
that guy's amazing.
6'2",
to watch.
145
Ooh.
pounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, big boy.
But to watch him fight it's an art, man. He's something else. And he's been against some tough guys.
Yeah,
Who's the kid from? I think he was from Boston. They fought
Cater, yeah.
Yeah.
He's fighting Yair Rodriguez.
Is he?
End
That
of
should
the
be
month,
good. They're
end of
both
the month,
phenomenal
yeah.
strikers.
Yeah.
That should be an amazing
Yeah.
fight. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm trying to get Christie to watch as much UFC as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on every weekend now.
I know.
It is.
And Wednesdays as well.
Yeah,
And then the
I mean, it's the only sport right now. You know, they're all starting up now. But it's the only sport.
You have a favorite fighter?
Well, I'm gonna have to say it.
Yeah,
There
I
you
do.
go.
I do.
Honestly, when I came over to America in '95, so obviously you've got Frankie's the jerseys on,
Yeah.
and then I'm from Ireland, so I like
Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
They
you gotta
almost
represent your-
almost got after it. They
Yeah.
were
I know.
Connor was calling him out for a little bit. I was really hopeful because that would have been a hell of a payday.
was with two-
Frankie would have had a bigger pool in the backyard. I could have come over. I could have hung out. You know.
It's gonna put me in a difficult spot.
Yeah. No, Connor. Listen, I don't have anything bad to say about Connor. 'Cause
No,
he,
I mean,
you know why? Because he
he's
backs it
got
up.
the gift of gab.
He's talented.
He's
You know,
brought a
that's
lot
what I
of
was
attention to
saying
the sport.
before when certain athletes, people get behind him because
That's different though. Connor is not like everyone's trying to be like Connor, and they
correct.
sound stupid.
Yeah, that is true.
He's naturally, he's an entertaining guy. He's
couldn't
funny.
agree
He
with
says
Some of his
the
lines.
right shit at the right time.
Sunday night.
Yeah. He is
His
funny.
timing in and out of the ring is pretty.
Yeah,
epic.
no, yeah, and he performs. A lot of guys say stuff they don't perform. He calls it out.
Right.
You
It's
know,
funny
He
because
backs it up.
He almost like brought the UFC in a whole different level.
he did. He
Yeah.
definitely.
That's what people like Alex, yourself, and Abby
Yeah.
did with women's soccer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Sure.
You need those shining lights as well.
And you guys are loyal. I've never seen more loyal fans than the Irish fans.
Lunatics.
You come in droves.
I know it's unbelievable. You can't get rid of us.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
always say the Americans they kind of take over the world by strength. Whereas the Irish we take it over by just infestation.
Yeah.
You go into the bathroom with 2 and you come out with 4.
Yeah.
Well, there's more. I mean, Irish people in the U.S. than Ireland, right? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
everybody has a little bit of Irish in them. They're Irish, you know.
Especially in St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah, of course.
I found out I had some, and I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
I got a little myself,
Over,
yeah.
You get yourself over to Dublin.
There you go.
Enjoy a good UFC night over there.
For sure.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's good to watch the UFC evolve and kind of see the different influences. We were talking about it in the way down, how women's soccer kind of grew through the pioneers, like
Right.
Yeah.
pioneers of the UFC. Like
When I was there, and I forget what year it was, but the Titanic Museum was almost completed. We missed it by it was literally months away from opening, and I thought that would have been so epic to go there. But it's open. Have you been?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think a lot of people realize that the Titanic left from.
well, that's where it was
I don't-
made.
yeah.
It's terrible
Right.
joke, but it was built in Belfast,
Yeah.
and then it obviously made its way down to Southampton, and then made its way across the Atlantic. But
Yeah.
it's the two cranes, the two big yellow cranes. I don't know if you saw them when you were in Belfast. They still stand.
Is that right? Yeah. No, I didn't. But we did stay in Belfast for
You
a
see
few
the
days.
door? Was the door there? You see the
What?
door?
The door?
The door.
Why am I saying door wrong?
The door. No, the door that the Leonardo DiCaprio was laying on. They have that there.
You talking about the Blarney
The
Stone?
Titanic. You said the Titanic.
No,
Did you
it
see
wasn't
the movie,
open.
The Titanic?
It wasn't open. It wasn't open, you dingling.
Like a French guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't open. And no, I didn't kiss the Blarney Stone. They say the locals pee on it. So I,
Prop.
I was going to encourage you. You've not done that yet.
No.
You've done the north.
no, I did not. I heard someone tipped me off.
Belfast.
I was actually when I was there. I was hanging out with Justin Bieber. Yeah,
No way.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah.
did you know that?
yeah, that's funny. I shouldn't say hanging out with. I'm not that.
Hanging
cool.
out with.
We were in the
You're old
same-
enough to be his dad,
We
dude.
were in the, I may be his dad. We were in the same hotel, and there was a big party van going out that night, and he told me and my ex to come out with him. And
You wanted someone to buy him beer.
Yeah. He kept calling me. He didn't have. I mean, this is the early days of Bieber, and he didn't have a single tattoo on him. He just
Wow.
kept calling me the tattoo guy.
The tattoo. guy.
Yeah,
Look what
yeah.
you did
So
there.
yeah,
Had a big impact. Belfast you've done Belfast.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's fun.
It's plenty to see.
yeah.
I'm
No, it was a good time. We had fun. He was the biggest draw there. I remember leaving the hotel room and the windows were literally shaking and rattling when he was walking out.
Oh my God.
Frank, have you fought over in Europe? From where's your?
Not in Europe. I've only been to the UK. I haven't been to mainland Europe.
Okay.
But I fought in Abu Dhabi. I fought Canada, Japan, Philippines, and Korea. Yeah.
Who did you fight in the
Korea.
Philippines? Why am I drawing a
Fought
blank?
Uriah in the Philippines.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, Philippines was pretty wild. Like kids like younger than my daughter, like working, selling stuff on the street.
Crazy.
It was
Yeah.
scary. That's just crazy.
It's eye-opening when you start
Yeah.
traveling.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I'm going to go on a limb and say I think that a lot of people in today's age don't realize that. They just
No.
don't realize what an amazing
No.
country we live in, you know?
Absolutely.
Like if you make $35,000 a year in the U.S., you're like in the top 10% of you know.
I almost feel like people should be
Salary,
forced
yeah.
to go see another place, then come back and be like, well, now what do you think of where we live, you know?
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
Pretty good, like, I came
Yeah.
here when I was 10 years old.
Because if you're a world
Yeah,
traveler,
yeah,
which
right,
you are,
right.
I've been lucky enough to travel around. I've been through Europe and, you know, South Korea. I've been a number of places. But I feel like if you do get a little culture, you generally come back and saying, you know, listen, that is great. What a great experience. What an amazing. I would never shit on any other culture ever. But I love being home, and I
Yeah,
love
like
the things
being home.
that I think
Appreciate
that,
it more when you travel.
Now you get to play with international players also.
Mhm. Yeah, so at the pro level,
Mhm.
we get to play at the internationals, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You understand their culture
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what their likes are, and then they pick up stuff from you. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always tell, like, you know, I'm a college grad. I went to school to wrestle, you know, but I'm like so much more culture on a jiu-jitsu mat or even a soccer field
Mhm.
than there is in college.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
You know, like I know about Russia. I know Muslims. I know Brazilians. I could say thank you in how many languages? You know, so I think that's the one of the unique perspective or what unique things that sports bring you.
Yeah, you're competing with someone one day, and then you're like buddies the next
Right,
day. That's
right. Yeah.
you know, part of the sports culture. You know, and being able to, you know, Marta was one of my biggest competitors, and she was the one right there giving me a hug when I retired.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's cool.
And I just was like, I hope I made your life miserable on the field. You know? Like that was like,
Yeah.
I was just like, I wanted to know, like, did
Yeah.
I make you miserable? Because then I'm, like,
Then you did your job.
I did my
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
But you
exactly.
shared something, you know. You
yeah,
shared
it's just like
something.
those
you
moments,
made each other
you know?
better.
Like she made me,
because of it.
yeah, I always say
Yeah.
that you made me the best defender that I
Right.
could be because I got to compete against you.
Right, right.
I always said it wasn't Olympics or World Cup unless I played against Brazil.
Yeah.
Probably
yeah.
the best compliment you could give to somebody, you know?
Yeah.
Really.
Absolutely.
I made Frankie a better podcaster because I'm just so
Yeah.
I'm so good at it.
Yes, he is. He is. This
Well, it's
guy.
fun for you guys to.
I mean,
It is.
Get together
We just
and
did this
reminisce
as a
and
bro
just-
out session. It was
Yeah.
been so blessed to have so many great guests on, and
for
you
sure.
know, we just we both. I work a normal job, but we both wanted to do something that gave us an opportunity to weigh in a little bit on what's going on in our lives, and
That's
as dads,
awesome,
and as, so
yeah.
we said let's do a podcast, and it's worked out really well. We've
Yeah, it's been fun so
my
far.
perspective has changed so much just from the guests we've had sitting on that couch. So yeah,
That's awesome.
in many ways.
37?
This is
Episode 37.
37.
And most
Yeah.
most of them have been with guests. Most, I would say the majority, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes just Raj
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. the old guy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. This was
Yes.
fun.
Of course, thanks for having
yeah,
me.
No,
Christie, social media. What is let everybody
can
know where
people-
they can find you.
people
Are you
find
on
you?
social media?
I'm on social media.
You are. What is your
Yes.
at?
Well, they're all different.
All right.
So
hit us with
is it
whatever you can
Instagram?
remember.
It's Christie Rampone 3.
All right.
I always have to. It's my Twitter.
Twitter's Christie Rampone.
Christie Rampone.
Yeah.
And then Facebook is
Hopefully, it's
Christie Pierce Rampone. Yeah.
And where can people find your book?
They can go to
It's on Amazon, 'cause I looked it up, but
yeah, so it's
you can
basically
pre-order it.
everywhere. Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
you can pre-order it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. But if you go on beallinbooks.com, you can find it anywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if you're a mother or a father out there with children in sports and you would like a little bit of advice from somebody, yeah, there you go, right? Lou's ordering it now
Yes.
from a top-level athlete who's also a mother. There you go. Order it today. Be Out releases August 18th, correct?
August 18th.
You
Yeah.
can pre-order
let's
now.
go.
So, yeah.
Pre-order?
Title, what's the title? Give me the title one more
It's Be All in Raising Kids in Sports for Success in Life.
Perfect. Be all in, baby.
Be all
Gotta
in.
want it, right?
Yes.
Well, thanks again, and I don't know. After your book, we'll do a book review.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Sounds
Pleasure
good.
to have you guys
Awesome.
on.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Love
much
to
for
come
coming.
back.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.